joining me on the Path of the Seeker. Today, we're going to explore the symbols of the new moon in Scorpio. We'll explore the symbols associated with this time of year using several systems. The symbols of this new moon are a little grim and what some might call dark. Now, I follow the Kabbalistic point of view that light and dark are both aspects of the Creator. Life and death are the only guarantees of incarnation in physical material reality. That is to say, your soul willingly chose a life on earth, and death came as a part of the bargain. However, this is only on this plane of existence. I have experienced and studied enough to know, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, that we are eternal beings having a temporary human experience. Once you're centered in this knowledge, it's very hard to be frightened by the symbols that we're going to cover today. Let's start off with the astrology. I love the sign of Scorpio, but this is one of the most complicated signs in the zodiac, especially when it comes to symbology. This sign is literally tied to hundreds of myths about death and resurrection. Scorpio is associated with 5 symbols. First, it's associated with the element of water. Some astrologers call Scorpio the swamp, but don't let that fool you because the zodiac sign has a lot of depth. The second symbol is the scorpion, which is what most people are familiar with. However, it's also associated with the eagle, and sometimes that's depicted as the phoenix. A Scorpio person can remain a scorpion skittling along the ground if they choose, or they can choose to evolve and experience the transformation into the phoenix. Finally, Scorpio is associated with the fishhook. Again, this is a symbol of transformation. The fishhook is a tool of enlightenment because the sea represents the subconscious, and to be pulled from the sea represents becoming conscious or self-aware. Some people might even call that the second birth. There is a lot going on astrologically in the chart for this full moon. I'm not an astrologer, so I won't break it down entirely. There are a ton of astrologers out there that will do that for you. I'll leave a list of my favorites in the description box below the video. As a layperson, however, I can tell you that the planet with the biggest influence on this new moon is Pluto, the planet of death and transformation. That's because Pluto is the ruler of this new moon because it rules the sign of Scorpio. Not only that, however, but Pluto is going to conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn during this new moon at 23 degrees. And the new moon itself in Scorpio is at 23 degrees. To summarize the astrology as simply as possible, the stars are literally saying that this new moon brings major endings and transformation. Now let's look at the indigenous traditions. This moon is known as the first frost moon. The first frost can wither and kill vulnerable crops that should have been harvested by now. The trees have usually started to lose their leaves, and the animals that hibernate are preparing for their slumber. This is a time of great activity, as the last of the harvest is stored for the coming barren winter. This is a sacred time, and so a sacred herb, bearberry, used in ceremonial tobacco, is the plant associated with this moon. The symbolism here leans more towards transformation, because we are not at the opposite of the peak of summer, the solstice, but we've taken that first step into the underworld of winter. The Kabbalah leads us to the Hebrew letter Nun, which literally translates to the word fish in Aramaic. The fish is a powerful symbol of redemption, often associated with the harvest, because, just like food, fish are harvested from the sea. The sea symbolically represents the unconscious. Interestingly, Nun, a double-bodied letter, begins and ends the words for melody. These two, beginnings and endings, go together because without one, there would not be the other. Nun is also associated with the sacred, because the words prophet and prophecy start with the letter. And these are two of the most sacred traditions in the Kabbalah. Finally, our tarot card for this new moon is death. I prefer to look at this card as transformation, since only the physical dies. Here, the skeleton is harvesting both the subconscious, the woman's head, and the conscious, the man's head, that have been buried in the soil. In the background is a sunrise. Again, we have the symbolism of an ending, the harvesting of the subconscious and the unconscious from the ground, and we also have the beginning symbolized by the dawn in the background. Now, every new moon I draw an animal medicine card by Jamie Sams. And this new moon's card is absolutely perfect. I couldn't even have thought of this on my own. Our new moon card is Fox. Fox is a fascinating symbol because it adapts to the changing season. In the winter, fox's fur changes from brown or orange to white. This card is suggesting that we need to be quick-minded and adapt to the experiences that we are currently going through and match their energy. Instead of fighting the transformation, we need to go with the transformation. We can go from being the scorpion into the phoenix. So this is really the phoenix moment of this year. Now, on every new moon, I create a mineral grid ceremony to work with the energy. This is to literally consciously create a tangible reflection of the energy in the mundane world. This is a Hermetic tradition. As most know, the Emerald Tablet says, "As above, so below. As without, so within." By consciously recognizing the energy and choosing to work with it, you can come to this place from a place of empowerment. Now, you're going to be working with it regardless, but sometimes it's subconsciously, and in that case, you're merely reacting to the energy, and it's a place of disempowerment. By consciously recognizing the energy and interacting with it, I'm aligning myself with that cosmic energy, and therefore the creator, from whence it came. Now, the first stone that I'm working with on this new moon is smoky quartz. This is a beautiful, easy to access mineral. It is known for its power for transformation and transmutation from darkness to light to balance those two elements out. But it's also a stone of protection. I keep a piece of smoky quartz at my front door to ward off negativity. And I've actually seen salesmen turn away before I answer the door. And I credit that to the smoke. The next stone that I'm going to have on my grid is brachiated jasper. I call brachiated red jasper the phoenix stone. At one point, it literally broke apart. It was destroyed, just like a phoenix is burned by the fire, right? And then another mineral came in and filled in those holes, transforming it into a whole and complete new stone, just as the ashes of the phoenix rise up and a new bird is born, right? And I think that's the perfect stone for Scorpio energy, for all this Pluto energy we have going on. This has really been a phoenix year, a year of transformation, of really burning down things. And, you know, when things are torn down, when things are burned down, they're going to rise back up in a new form. And this is going on worldwide. Not just in our personal lives, although I'm sure all of us can find somewhere in our personal lives where things have been broken down a lot this year. And this is the point where those holes become filled and we become complete again. That's the cycle that we're currently in. Next, I have Larimar. This is a rare stone harvested from the ocean at only one time of the year. And this is to invoke that watery energy of Scorpio. You may have noticed a lot of our symbols involved the ocean, involved the fish hook, and fish. And this is all symbolism involving the harvest. And this is the very, very last time we can harvest when it comes to our seasons here in the northern hemisphere. Water symbolizes the emotions and the subconscious, especially when it comes to the sea. So I brought in Larimar because it's literally harvested from the sea. So I couldn't think of a better symbol to work with this Scorpio energy of transformation and harvest. Next, I have Tiger's Eye, which is known as the Stone of Courage. Transformation is scary. All of us need courage to work with this energy. Stepping into the unknown is always a frightful thing. This is the time of year where our ancestors stored up so many supplies just in case the winter went longer than it was supposed to, or it was more severe than they expected. I find it very interesting that I just read an article that people are stocking up on disinfectant and paper towels and wipers and toilet paper again, just like they did at the beginning of the year when we first heard of the virus. But this is in direct alignment with the energy that we have right now. This is why it's important to know what type of cosmic energy is going on, is that these types of things don't surprise us. We just understand that people are under the subconscious influence of something that's beyond them. Now finally I have Unakite. Unakite is a heart chakra stone that represents balance. I brought it in because of the beautiful pink energy and green energy. The pink being the heart, the maternal, the nurturing aspect, and the green representing growth. Both are very important, especially as we grow through this transformation process. We need to stay centered and balanced in our energy. That way, we're not being swayed from one direction to the other by these very chaotic energies that are here, because transformation is always chaotic, whether we like it or not, because there's always going to be some people who resist the transformation, and then there's people who are going to take advantage of the transformation when it comes to others. And if we're in our center, we're not influenced by the energy as much, and we're not influenced by those outer forces. We're simply within our own peaceful, calm energy. So finally in this grid, I'm using 4 lepidolite chips for peace and serenity through the process. Lepidolite actually contains lithium, and this is a third eye stone. So this is also going to help us not overthink the situation. Again, it's staying centered, not having those racing thoughts that go off on tangents and what ifs and the possibilities. Instead, we're simply riding the ride. It's like being on a roller coaster at a theme park. When you're going up the hill, you know you're going to come back down, but you don't know if it's going to go through a loop-de-loop or if it's just going to be a straight plunge or what is exactly going to happen. And you can build up a lot of scenarios in your mind as you hit that apex point where we're at right now. There are 3 other tools that I will be using for this ceremony. Each tool correlates with a direction and element on the medicine wheel. The mineral grid itself represents the earth element and the northern direction. For the eastern direction and air, I have rain incense. I wanted to bring this in to acknowledge the watery aspect of the energy. I really want to acknowledge that cleansing emotions is a part of this energy. We saw this symbolized by the zodiac sign of Scorpio, which is associated with the water element. The fish hook symbol that is interpreted by the Polynesians for Scorpio, and by the Hebrew letter Nun, that's the Aramaic word for fish. Then I have for the element of fire a purple candle corresponding to the brow chakra. I'm bringing this in to balance the emotional energy with an analytical thinking energy. That's because the emotions and the analytical should always be balanced. When they're in balance with one another, we can think clearly and we just have better outcomes in general. Finally, for the western direction and water element, I have a transformation spray that I made from essential oils that include sage, Palo Santo, and frankincense. Well, that is what I have for you today. I hope knowing the symbolism of the energy of the new moon and how I will work with it inspires and helps you to navigate this energy. I know it's difficult right now, but the one guarantee that we have in life is that everything changes. When we have really bad times, it's going to change to good times eventually. When we have really good times, it's going to change to really bad times. There's always an ebb and flow. And when you find your center and you start consciously working with this energy, you tend to be in the center instead of being tossed around in the boat on the ocean. I'm sending all of you infinite love during this transformative time in our lives. I truly believe that all of us volunteered to be here to embody the sacred energy of the Creator during this experience for those who will not. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you harness the Phoenix energy of this new moon to enrich your life on every level.